it was almost comparable to a 40-year-old 50, 60 years ago would have the same testosterone levels as a 20-year-old of today. So it's been a gradual decline, whether that's inactivity because of apps, poor diets, or a number of reasons.
I'm surprised about that being the same in the East. I mean, in countries where there's still hard labor, I know you'd still have pockets of that effect in those poorer countries or those labor countries, because you do have people who are rich. You're always going to have that wherever you go. There's always small pockets of rich people, and they indulge themselves a little bit too much while everybody else is working hard.
Yeah, the poorer class may not have in the developing countries may not have the weight issue because they're working hard they're doing like manual labour. But in terms of just general, I think fast food is becoming popular everywhere. Even developing countries, they're turning to that more and more.
I mean, from my personal point of view and experience, we're descendants of migrants from a poor country where agriculture was the main job, and that was in hot weather, and it was hard labor, but they had a food to suit. So what I mean by that is, in the mornings they would have for breakfast a burrata, which is a buttered chapati or roti, and they'd maybe have 2-3 of those, and they'd have a milk tea which is much thicker and fuller, but they'd burn that off. Unfortunately, that habit of eating hasn't died out when they've migrated here to the West. They've maintained that, but without the same strenuous work, which means they're not able to burn it off, which in turn gives you bad health.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
That's one aspect.
One generation, but this is going back several generations. It's going back to like the great warriors of old. Those men, their testosterone levels, their libido was a lot higher. Than just how they carry themselves, and just if you go to the hunter-gatherers, they never ate as much. I think even in the developing countries, we are kind of a little bit spoiled compared to those people. When you've got to hunt for food, you may not have food for several days, and hunger actually keeps you more active. There's a study done on it, how fasting is really good for your health.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. I mean, when you don't eat enough, what you do eat, your body cleverly works out what to store for use later and what to use now. Whereas now, food is available, at the tap of a button, at the click of a finger. So your body just doesn't care and eats, and it's all weight. I think it's probably been coming around since, they were able to go abroad and bring back different exotic foods. So that's going back to Queen Victoria's time.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Men are not what they were. They're declining on most metrics compared to the men of old. So maybe it's the comfort or the luxury. It's actually having a negative effect rather than a positive effect.
Oh no!
Speaking of stats, going back to my research, this may surprise you guys or may not, but men on average die 5 years earlier than women, just generally speaking, and men are less likely. So if a man has an illness, he's less likely to visit a doctor than a woman. And they didn't actually put a number on it, they just said in general this is what they found, that men visit doctors far less than women. And the third one was men are 3 times more likely to die from suicide than women.
Oh wow, man.
Your thoughts on this?
So number one, that's not surprising. I've heard that stat somewhere else before, and someone explained it's still part of our life cycle. You know, we were hunter-gatherers, and it was the men who went out, the men who were in danger, and so they lasted a lot less. You know, they lived for less, whereas the women would outgrow them and there'd be more. The other two,
we're not hunter-gatherers anymore. You know, we're not getting chased by saber-toothed tigers anymore. So why is this happening?
I think that number 2 one might hit the nail on the head. We don't look after our health. We men, I don't know if Sol will agree with this, but men are like, no,
yeah, Sol, are you okay there? He's not been eaten by a tiger, has he? Is he gone to get us some food? Not heard from you.
I'm still here. I've not had a chance to speak because Miss always answers to any questions before I even get a chance to speak. Regarding some of those questions, I would say that I think social media plays a big aspect on men, because maybe they want men to be a certain way and not the old way, as they say.
Oh, just want a new... Oh, okay.
So that's my theory on the matter. And not going to the doctors, I don't think that's 100% the truth. I mean, it depends on, you know, it's the stature, you know, it's like, oh, I'm fine, I don't need to go. Some old school men maybe think like that, but gradually when you have a reoccurring health issue, you know, you'd end up going doctors anyway. But sometimes they think, oh, doctors are a waste of time anyway. When you go visit them, they're not really listening to me. Some of the small mates I've come across, they go, I'll go to a doctor, don't really listen to me, so I don't see the point of going. So I said, no, you should still keep going, because you don't know, there might be some underlying issue they've not caught or they're not captured. So that's my opinion on the questions just mentioned.
So it's not saying that men don't go, they're just far less likely than women to go. And again, this is general. There's not like, I'm sure there's women out there that, you know, they're like, tough it up and, you know, don't go. That just generally speaking.
I think that is true, that men don't go as much to the doctors as women. Me personally, myself, I mean, I don't go, even though I should. Usually I'll just end up bearing.
But why? Is health not important to you?
It is, but I'm guessing maybe I've had a bad experience and then I just don't want to go. So I'd rather end up trying to resolve it at home through old remedies than having to go to the doctor.
Just answered your question. He's old school.
He's old school. Old school is that, you know, like tough it up, grim and bear it, isn't that? But he's like, well, I don't really like doctors, and I'm a bit like that as well. I don't like doctors, I don't like needles, and like stay away.
Neither do I, but I still go. I wouldn't chance it. I mean, from my
so you're new age.
No, I wouldn't say I'm new age, but you know, if you have underlying issues, anything that crops up, you still go.
Okay. What about mental health? And here's a stat for you. Do you know men are 3 times more likely to die from committing suicide than women?
I didn't know that stat, but yeah, that's all to do with mental health.
To put this into perspective, in the US, 1 male dies from suicide every 14 minutes, compared to 1 female who dies by suicide every 56 minutes. So, you do the maths on that one. But in general, about 4 out of 5 suicides recorded are male.
Oh wow, man.
So I've got a theory on this, and I think there's 2 factors that may have made it worse. And I'm not being sexist, but female independence. And you know what? I'm all for female independence. You know, hooray, they work. Hooray, they've got equal rights, you know. So men have lost their reason, their purpose.
Oh, really? Okay, so that's what you think.
So what men are doing is, oh, I was supposed to go work, I was supposed to look after the woman, I was supposed to, now she's doing it all herself and I don't know how to cook, you know.
Okay.
So
Interesting theory.
they feel useless and then think, well, there's no use for me, I might as well just pop my clogs.
Oh well.
And the other factor is, and these are my theories, I haven't looked into it, but the other one is social media. Social media
Surely that affects women as well.
that affects women and kids, you know.
But my point is, why are men killing themselves more, committing
More
suicide
likely.
more?
So social media, I don't know whether it's having an equal effect on men and women. Maybe it's having a more detrimental effect on men, but putting that with the loss of men's purpose,
Again,
I really do think the majority of men still think, you know, women should be there to look after them. So iron their clothes, make them their food, maintain the house.
Bit misogynistic here.
It is true though. I mean, Andrew Tate, you know,
Sparkling water.
these people, you know, he says it. Men are pussies. They're not saying what they actually believe.
Explain this to someone, some bum club.
Yeah, I think the roles were more defined
Yes.
a few years ago, and
Yes.
it has messed up the family structure. I mean, again, just like you, I'm all for like women empowerment, girl power, and all the rest of that jazz. But I think there's some comedian that said, I can't remember who said it, but it's pretty good. He said women timed their revolution perfectly. You know, they didn't do it when men were going to war. They didn't do it when men were like, you know, going out chase, you know, getting eaten by tigers. They weren't like, hey, let me go and hunt the food. No, it's okay, you go, you get eaten by tigers, okay. You know, Titanic, all that crap, whatever happened. As they weren't doing it in them days, in times of war, famine. As soon as we got air-conditioned offices, all of a sudden we were like, hey, we want some of that. We're going to be equal now. So yeah, I mean, it's comical, but somewhat true.
Oh, excuse me.
Relationships is a big part of it. Relationship breakdowns, marriage problems, that can lead to suicide. That's one of the higher rates as well. Finances is one. I mean, we've got something in common. I won't say his name on there, but we have a mutual friend that did commit suicide. I'm sure you remember this.
Yeah.
Now, this individual was like the sweetest guy you ever met. Like, he was such a nice guy, and you wouldn't, you know, if you spoke to him, you would never think that he was going through. I think his reason was financial, wasn't it? That was the story, wasn't it? From what his brother said.
Yeah, but so he was, you know, if they're trying to maintain a life, if he's trying to maintain a lifestyle that he thinks his wife is going to appreciate and stick with him, you know, that's a bit shit. You know, the woman should love you for what you are, not for, you know, worldly luxuries.
Yeah.
You know, it's a hard choice to actually go through with.
Yeah, I can't imagine that'd be easy. Saying it's one thing, but doing it, you know, I mean, you shouldn't do it really. It shouldn't even be a last resort. It really shouldn't even be an option, to be honest. But what leads someone down that path, it's only they know the pressure they're under. And like I say, there's always a way out. You know, if there's money, if it's a relationship. I think everyone's different. You know, some people would do anything. There's men out here that get beat by their women, like literally. You know, you talk about men being abusive, and not just in words but physically. But I think the tables have turned. There's a lot of men out there, unfortunately, get battered by their wives, and they're scared of them.
Yeah.
But you don't hear them stories as much or as openly, because if it's a man getting beat by a woman, it's almost accepted. Whether if it was a woman, it'd be like, oh, gasp, you know, how dare he?
Oh well.
Yeah. Again, it's another one of those, isn't it? You know, women are the ones who need to be protected. Now, when equal rights come along, you know, let's have equal rights for both men and women. You know, if men are being beat up, then those women need to be put in jail as well.
Eye for an eye.
Thank you so much.
And I'm not saying it's right for men to beat women, but I'm just as strongly opposed to women beating men. That's my stance on it. So if you be fair, be fair.
There's so many types of people out there. Unfortunately, times are changing. You know, cultures are changing, customs are changing.
So relationship, like I said, is a big one. That was a big one. Also, they're saying midlife crisis is another reason. You know, you hit midlife crisis, and then you're like, you know, what am I doing in my life? And it's just not where you want to be, and that's the reason men would.
Yeah, I do think that's a big one. That, and then when you hit 40, you think, I've not done shit. I didn't get to where I wanted to. I've not been able to do what I want.
Yeah. So suicide is one thing, but what they also say, stress is another big killer of men. And they say 67% of men are more likely to die from common diseases such as cancer that affect both sexes. So cancer is not just for men, it affects both sexes, but men are still more likely to die from these diseases.
Oh, wow, man.
Yeah. I think if you're idle, then you have so much time to dwell on things and go over it in your head, which digs your hole deeper. You're digging your own grave, basically. Whereas if you keep active, you don't have time. You don't have time to think about the shit you've missed.
Okay, so obviously we're men. We're usually problem solvers. So all these things, all these problems we're talking about, what can we do to counteract these problems then? Like they say, prevention is better than cure.
I think if you can make decisions that would make your physical life easier, because then you won't have to dwell on things as much. Maybe just be open about certain things. If someone is pressuring you into doing something that you can't, or you're having to do, then be truthful about it. And if they don't appreciate it, then just leave.
Yeah,
it's harder doing it than it is saying it. But when you think about the end result, maybe suicide, you know, it's better to
Maybe you keep good company around you, so you can talk and get it off your chest. That's one of the solutions. One.
Yeah, you should have a good, strong circle of friends that can help
who you trust, who won't obviously backstab you or
judge you
or stuff like that.
Yeah, you should be able to turn to someone to be able to tell them, because unfortunately with Asians, you can't really turn to your parents because they just tell you up to, suck it up and just get on with it.
I mean, ideally, if you're married, you should be talking to your wife anyway, first of all.
But what if they're the problem?
Here we go.
That's the thing, and they need to sort it out, don't they? They need to understand, you're causing this problem.
Yes, and I did say that you need to be able to say to them quite clearly.
Here we go, Niz.
That's why they want to bring. That's why they want to
coming out. I'll be like,
bring it up.
It won't end. It won't end with episode 99. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, we said relationships. We said a lot of things. That can...
Religion is another one. I mean, it could possibly sometimes help you. Some people might not be religious. So, if you believe in God, well, obviously we Muslim, we believe in Allah anyway. We believe in faith, taqdeer, and so on.
Yeah, it can bring you out of your depression.
Yeah, that could possibly.
And it is true to a point. It is to do with faith, knowing there's a purpose, and that there's a
purpose to go through what you're going through.
Yes.
Stick by it. So I mean, I think we've covered a lot of things today. It's been quite a heavy topic, but I think it's one that needed to be discussed.
Take it off our chest.
Yeah. So I think the main thing here was obviously the worst thing is suicide, because anything else is a comeback. You know, you can come back from that, but once you go down the suicide road, there's no coming back from that. Like I told you guys before, me and Niz had a mutual friend, and who knows where he would have been today. He was quite successful, but unfortunately he didn't reach out or speak to anyone. He kept it all inside, and you know, that was unfortunately his demise. So I think, especially,
I think the one good thing there maybe was that, you know, there wasn't any children, you know, that have lost a father. You know,
the brother still lost a brother. The parents still lost a son. You know, it's, and I understand what you're saying, but in that way,
I know it might be
it's more difficult for children, because, you know, family still has one another, but a child only has a father or a mother.
It's back to that point of talking. Could you not recall? We went as a trio, and there was another mutual friend of ours who's financially okay. And do you remember that particular friend who said, if he'd only spoken to me, I may be able to help him out in some way, because his dad was well off, and you know what I'm talking about there, don't you?
Yeah.
So, because we're on there, I don't want to mention names, but yeah. Especially if you're on ground zero and contemplating suicide, first of all, talk to someone. Please don't make any rash decisions. I know this topic has been quite heavy. We have touched on serious things like suicide, which most people and most shows would not even speak about. But these are real life problems that real life people face, and we are a show for the people. So if you would like us to do a whole episode on suicide or any other topic that is close to your heart, please feel free to reach out and let us know. We're on most social media platforms, or you can contact us on our website, nosuchnonsense.com, and we will try our best to accommodate you guys. So, with that said, from me, take care. Until next time, bye bye.
Remember, always speak up, speak out, contact the Samaritans, contact a friend, don't sit in silence. See you later. Bye bye.
just like what Liz has said, communication is the key. There's nothing else to add. See you people, all peeps, next week on the show. Bye for now.